This call is now being recorded.
Okay, a very warm welcome to everyone here and good evening to everyone as well. So, I am Prakriti Bagri from Green Line, and we are conducting another talk on the topic of ecology versus economy. Now, this is a very interesting topic, and for this we have on board our very own speaker, Mr. Caden Anthony. He works in Green Line and he's a program officer at Green Line. He's done his master's in wildlife biology and he's really passionate about wildlife. So you will see a glimpse of it during the talk. Moreover, he is also into parkour and sports. So he's like this all-rounder person who's enthusiastic about our wildlife, about our environment, and at the same time aims to spread his knowledge and create more awareness and engage more people via his words. So, welcome, Caden. I hand over the session to you. I
Thank you.
would request everyone to please keep yourself on mute. Uh, Whatever questions are there, please post it on the chat box. We will answer them at the end. So kindly do the needful and yeah, thank you so much. Uh, Hayden, we can't hear you.
Thank you, Prakriti, for this introduction. It was really nice. Uh, just give me a moment till I share the presentation. So I hope you all can see the presentation. So today's topic, so this topic is on economy versus ecology. So right now, not just right now, it has always been this sort of tug of war or this fight. सबको ऐसे लगता है कि ecology or economy. The economy is doing well, the ecology is doing not so good. So this whole presentation is about that. Is a relationship between the environment and the economy. So before directly moving into the topic, let's just see what these things are. The ecosystem. What exactly is an ecosystem? You look out of your house as an ecosystem. You look at a small. So even if you go outside your house and pick up a teaspoon of mud in a spoon, there's a whole ecosystem within that spoon. There are small microorganisms eating each other, some decomposing stuff, and everyone. So there's a whole system of plants, animals, small microorganisms, scavengers. Scavengers are animals that eat other dead animals, and the whole system is called and is called an ecosystem. So, and as you all know that the earth, we get our energy from the sun. Plants utilize that energy, provide food for us, and that food is later consumed by animals and humans, and then we process that food, and our waste matter is then absorbed by plants. But the cycle is not very simple. It's not that simple. It's not just a circle. It's a whole web of life. um, Moving on to what exactly is the economy. Economy is also something very similar. There's a whole system. There's a whole it starts from the very basic level, when there's one simple farmer, one simple let's consider a farmer. They produce some raw material. That raw material has to go to a processing plant. It is manufactured, it is processed into something. It may become a handbag, it may become a piece of cloth, it may become a desk. This next product is then shipped and marketed. There are a lot of companies that put their brand logos on it, and then there's a whole vast system of this. So just like the ecosystem, the economy is also something that is a constant a chain, like a constant web of many factors that interact with each other. So this is basically what the way they are similar. If you directly go to compare them, they both are adaptive systems. Now, when I call them adaptive systems, is because they are really dynamic. Now, dynamic here may seem like a complicating word, but as we can see now, there's a COVID crisis that has happened. Even after the COVID crisis, somehow the economy is moving. It didn't just completely shut down. The economy is moving. The environment also constantly faces a lot of problems. There is pollution. There is human cutting trees. The economy and the environment both suffer a lot in many ways, due to changes in the weather pattern, due to human activity, or due to any natural calamity that we have no control over. But they both adapt and they grow. One major similarity between both the system is that both these systems with time grow and become more complicating. Like the economy may start with maybe one with a barter system where there are these merchants who just exchange goods and services. Later on it gets more complicating. There's a system of money, then there's a system of shares. It keeps getting complicating with time. Similarly, the ecosystem is the exact same thing. Um, it starts with one single celled organism. That one single cell organism grows, it divides. There's constant addition of another organism. That one line produces plants, another organism goes and produces all these animals that we see. So this is how both these systems are basically the same, but yet they are so different from each other. Right now, there is one major difference between the ecosystem and the environment. When we talk about the ecosystem, there we say in the forest nothing really goes waste. Every small molecule, every small atom of uh, of a product is reused, and it's brought into the cycle again. Sorry. uh, but here's something different in with the economy. In an economy, not it's not necessary that everything may be used. There are some products that may not be used. Like, there are a lot of waste. There's plastic once generated is there's probably no much solution, nothing much you can do about it. And so this is how the economy and ecology are different. The ecosystem is something that will constantly grow, constantly become more complicating, and it'll keep shifting. The economy, however, it can fail. There are chances with that. There are some certain conditions in which economies do fall. So as you can see, there's a similar graph. Like, just assume this is the number of species or the number of businesses. Over a period of years, this constantly grows. It's not a very perfect graph, but this shows that there are like ups and downs, and it constantly changes with time.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess a lot of you know what is a food web. So basically, when we talk about a food web is is the interaction between organisms. It starts with a small microbe, you can say, that produces some nitrogen for a plant. Plant absorbs the nitrogen. Plant produces some fruits. Those fruits and those leaves are consumed by animals like herbivores and other fruit eating animals. Those animals are eaten by larger predators like maybe foxes and raccoons. And those predators, the mesopredators, there are higher apex predators that feed on them. And when these animals die, it's consumed by the plant again. So this is a whole complicating web. What I've told you is a very, very simplified form. There are many small factors everywhere. Similarly, the economy. It starts with a small shop. There's like one shop. It gets its product from somewhere. It sells its products to a lot of other customers. This is how both the systems are, you can say, almost identical. Now we talk about capitalism. Capitalism, it may play a secondary role in whether the government system plays a secondary role, and there's more control with with the with companies and with industries. They have more control over the production of goods. Now, no system capitalism is something that we all follow. The system itself may not be bad. no system is bad. It is the way we use it that may not be very helpful. So right now, one major problem that we face because of capitalism is that the major companies who maybe the multinational companies, they are currently not having much. They do not have much incentive to have sustainable systems. Currently, sustainability and the environment is not very profitable for them, and that is slightly problematic. Capitalism itself is not a bad system in my opinion, because it helps a lot of these businesses. It helps people who want to do something in life to actually grow. And if you use marketing, and if you use your resources well, you can actually do well in a capitalist system. And yet no system is perfect. So this is current the contribution of capitalism to the ecology. We From between these few 25 years, we have lost around 46% of our forests. Now 46% is a very huge number. 46% is almost half of all our forests. And so now I've been talking for a long time, and I would like you guys to answer something. So what do you think, any industry that can you guys name any industry that directly harms the ecosystem? Put it in the chat box. If you're comfortable saying something, you can say that as well. So any industry that you think directly harms the ecosystem. Okay, someone was about to say something. Plastic, right? So we won't really call it plastic. We'll call it the packaging industry. Oil companies, yes, that's a very nice example. Um, we so let's not call it industries. Let's name the product. So plastic, the packaging industry, and plastic is a problem. Oil companies, yes, that's the direct contributor to fossil fuels and the carbon emissions that we have. Cement industries. Okay, so this is a very appropriate answer. Yeah. So cement industry, if we many might not know, but the cement industry is one of the leading contributors for carbon emissions. Mining industry, yes, that's a very perfect answer. Mining industry leads to a lot of land destruction, and most lands are not reusable. You can't really do anything. They don't remain fertile after the mine is moved somewhere else. Another problem with the mining industry is after they have dug up the whole mine, after there's nothing much left, no gold or no copper or uh, nothing left. When the mine moves away, the villagers who used to be employed in the mine now are left jobless. Uh, I wouldn't say this is any particular person's fault or any fault, but this is just how the system is right now. Okay, so here I've written that it costs less for businesses to dump pollutants and ignore emissions than to invest in new technologies. We see a lot of these companies, uh, they don't have any incentive to, how do I put it? Uh, Meet global or meet the current requirements for the environment. A lot of them are they all they care is about profit. And I'll not say they are wrong, because even if we would be in their position, we would right now we would care about profit. Okay, but when we don't give them any reason to want to save the environment, they wouldn't. There are few brands like I guess IKEA is a brand like this, Fjallraven, and these brands do listen to consumers. So when consumers, when we, the people who purchase stuff, when we raise a voice and tell these companies that what, we want you to be more responsible about your consumption. Like, okay. So uh, so when we as consumers, when we want industries to actually stop the emissions, and when we raise our voice, when we tell them, maybe through social media or through anything, that is the time when a lot of companies actually listen. There are a lot of industries that actually work about for the environment. How many of you, I'm writing a word in the chat section, if you have heard about of this company, just tell me. Ecosia. Have you heard about this? Have you ever heard this word? You can write in the chat box yes, no, if you have. Yes. Because Isaac has heard. That's nice. Anyone else? Okay, no. Hmm. So Ecosia is a search engine. Like Google, it is another search engine. What Ecosia does is, every time you search, they say that every time you search through our search engine, we will plant a tree. And there are many such brands that there is. IKEA is one. IKEA is a big brand that does that, is an environmental friendly brand. And so there are these brands that and I'm not talking about brands that are like that are small. I'm talking about actually global brands. So as a consumer, what we all need to do is we need to find such brands that actually work for the environment and support these brands. Okay, I'll give you two major examples of our current system that has been put in place. So, how many of you know what palm oil is? Have you ever heard of palm oil? It's a very common thing. It's used in a lot of foods. So, one major problem, or the major problem that the palm oil industry has, the major criticism I'd say that the palm oil industry has faced is that a lot of this palm oil that is extracted requires a huge amount of space. Now, when a common person who does not have uh, who's not really studied about these things, it to them a palm oil plantation or a field looks like a very green area. It does look like it looks like you'll call it almost like a forest because they are palm trees, and there are like huge number of trees. But originally, in a palm oil plantation, there used to be a forest. This happens literally everywhere. In, palm oil is a binding agent that is used in almost every product of ours. And when and what companies have done is they replace these forests in poor countries, not in very rich countries, in countries like Indonesia and countries like Malaysia, which have a which have an ape called the orangutan. Have you ever heard of an orangutan? It's a red color ape. It's similar to a gorilla, yeah. So now, because of palm oil, this lovely ape called the orangutan is almost disappeared. There are very, very few orangutans left in the world, and we have pushed them to the brink of extinction because of palm oil plantation. And but here comes the whole dilemma. What can we do right now? Palm oil is literally in every single product. It looks like a food product, but it is used in shampoos, it's used in gels, in creams, in literally every food product. It's a very cheap binding agent. And the other thing is the carbonated beverage bottle. So earlier, the company Coke had had glass bottles. I guess you all remember the glass bottles that we used to. They were like really cheap. You drink from it and then you return the glass bottle to the shopkeeper, and he gives you a small amount back. So that giving you a small amount may not seem like a very huge or very massive thing. Like you hardly get 2 rupees for that. But that system where you give the bottle back does eliminate waste. There is no waste generated there. The shopkeeper takes it back, the glass bottle is recycled, and probably the next time you drink a beverage, you get it in the same bottle. But what happened over the years is plastic bottles became a very very cheap alternative for most companies. And nowadays, companies have started using plastic bottles for literally everything because it's cheap and they don't have to worry about it. And I guess we all know what a huge problems have plastic bottles created. We see it about everywhere. There are like animals getting stuck in it. There are these small birds that there was a bird recently whose neck got stuck in a plastic bottle. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. It's quite popular on the internet. Um, so when people started, blaming companies that this is an actual incident that happened. I'll not name the company directly, but so when this actually happened, there was a huge hue and cry that you guys need to do something about plastic bottles. The plastic bottles are a huge problem for us. What a company did was the company started a campaign. The company started a campaign saying, "Do not be a litter bug." Now, when you say "do not be a litter bug," the company very easily pushed the blame on the people. Now, when you push the blame on the people, that saying that you guys are the one who are not recycling, you guys are the one who should be recycling. You guys threw the plastic bottles out. It's you who bought the plastic bottles. And the campaign was a massive success. And what happened with this is the company evaded its responsibility, and the company was no longer responsible for, clearing up its own mess. I mean, you are the one who created the plastic bottle. Shouldn't you be responsible for taking care of it? There's another similar campaign that was run by another company, which was a massive polluter, which was called carbon footprint. Okay, guys. So before I move forward, are you guys getting all this, or is it like too heavy, or is it like simple to understand? Can you can just write in the chat box? Simple. Okay, perfect. Okay. If it's too complicated, if it's too complicated, you can just tell that to me in the chat box. I'll simplify it. Okay. So another company started a thing called carbon counting, or the counting your carbon footprint. Now, this seemed like a very green initiative, okay? That you count your own carbon footprint, and you know you reduce your impact on the environment. But the same company when was responsible for emitting huge amounts of carbon, huge amounts of methane in the atmosphere. And this carbon footprint campaign was a way to divert people's mind to think that we are entirely responsible and it is our complete fault. How many of you know about the Maharashtra plastic ban? We all know, right? I guess we all know. This is not a question I should be asking. Okay. How many of you think the plastic ban was kind of successful? Isaac has raised his hand. Isaac, do you want to ask a question? Okay. Okay, it was to answer the plastic ban. Okay. So, how many of you think the plastic ban was successful? Just write down in the chat section. Yes, it was successful. No, it was not. Complete failure, not at all. Okay. So, we had a small survey in which a few colleges participated, and so in that we came to know that obviously the shopkeepers were scared. They thought that when students are surveying them, they might be informing the government. But when we asked shopkeepers, the shopkeepers actually stopped giving plastic bag. They stopped providing plastic bags. The people started bringing their own bags, which was a massive change. Now, did you guys recently go to a McDonald's or a Domino's outlet and find those plastic a pla- small those plastic covers over the cup and a plastic straw? You guys, I hope again. So one person has replied yes. So when we talk about such policy level changes, when the government themselves brings a policy like the plastic ban, we do think it was a failure. But now, when the government has brought a system in place, a huge company, a massive company like McDonald's that serves its products in a plastic bottle, had to shift to a paper alternative. So this is the type of change that I'm talking about. So what we need is policy level change, and how can we get it? By people's action. When we the people want such action. Okay. So shifting priorities. Right now, just give me a minute. Mm. Okay, so are shifting priorities over the years, not over the years, I'd say, but we have started prioritizing certain things over things that are not really important. Our right now, you know that air pollution is a very I'm sorry. Air pollution is a massive issue. Air pollution has led to this huge problem in Delhi and Mumbai as well, where children below 5, they say 50% of, this is the actual data that I'm citing here. This There was a data saying that 50% of children below the age of 5 will have permanent irreversible um, loss of brain function. I mean, that doesn't mean children loss of brain function doesn't seem like a very it seems very scary, but it's not something that is noticeable. Like when we say loss of brain function, um, it does slow the development process. Now a person may not become like it may not be visible, but it may slowly reduce the person's ability to function. So Isaac has given us a fact here saying that now Delhi has, every 4 kilometers there will be an electric car charger. Yes, electric car charger. That's a very nice.
So your mic is on mute.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry about it. Okay, so air. We are talking about shifting priorities. Oh, I'm so sorry for this. So right now we know that children in Delhi are suffering from this huge air pollution problem. Okay, it's not just Delhi; it's happening in Mumbai. It's happening in major cities of India. Okay, what is happening is they say, according to a study, actually, 50% of children below the age of 5 will suffer irreversible. That means permanent um, brain development issues. That means they won't be able to. It's not a visible change that you can see. You know, it's not like some. It's those brain issues are something that will affect our daily function. So, and that is a huge problem. And the bigger problem is that we are not taking enough action against it. Okay, and these irreversible brain problems, it's irreversible. So there's no cure for it as such. And they are not. It's not a disease. It is. How do I explain? It's actually. It's there are issues in development of the brain. You can find this study online. I won't call it a dysfunction, but okay. But just so there is some incomplete development, and these issues are lifelong. Below the age of 5, more than 50, around 50% of this of children. Uh, and yet our actions are not enough. Water. I don't need to mention this actually. We all have seen the Methi River, which could be a very huge source of water to the Mumbai city, and yet we have to depend upon water sources that are out of Mumbai. Most of Mumbai's water comes from places that are out of Mumbai, and people from those places have to walk kilometers to get their water. Like we get water from rivers that are in their vicinity, while those people have to walk for kilometers to get their own water. So this is another big shift in priority. The people of the city, don't really worry so much about all of this. And food. We all have heard that. I guess this everyone's grandparents and everyone's parents have told that our food is not as good as it was. Our food has microplastics. Our food has pollution. Our food has pesticides. Our food is GMOs. Our food is not very helpful. So this is a major problem that's happening with our food. And when you look at all of this doesn't seem like a priority to any of us that you know that has to be changed. That needs to be addressed right now. We all look at this. You know that there are some environments working somewhere else for the environment, and they will work up for this. So this is one thing where our priorities are slightly misplaced. Now another major thing. The economy is completely dependent on the ecology. Without a healthy ecosystem or a healthy forest or be it any a mangrove system, a beach, a forest, a desert, a healthy economy cannot work. For a healthy economy, we need a proper system. And right now, we don't seem to care about you know uh, the economy. The ecology. And a major portion of this is right now we haven't really faced that level of problem. Now, if you know a few countries like Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia. Jakarta also didn't really care about about its ecology and didn't really care about its condition. And right now, a huge part of the capital city of Indonesia is underwater because of climate change and because of not just rising sea levels, even pumping out too much groundwater. They see the whole Middle East crisis of the Syrian countries is somewhere linked to climate change and somewhere linked to the rainfall, which actually led to rise of other terror groups there. So what we need to do is focus a lot of attention on our ecology and the environment. Now a question to all of you: do you think the economy and will it help if everyone has an electric car? Very nice question, Isaac. See, now when you talk about an electric car, it's a good solution. It does not really it does not really create any pollution. But you need to ask the question that where is the electricity coming from? If the electricity is coming from a green source, like maybe solar energy or wind energy, or is it coming from another fossil fuel? Okay, so does that answer your question, Isaac? Okay, I hope it does. Okay, a question to all of you. Um, does it have to be like that? Does the economy and ecology have to be against each other? Are they enemies? Based on my presentation till now, what do you think? Do you think these both are against each other? Like the environment, or are they like? What do you think they are? Are they enemies? So Isaac says no, they're not enemies. Anyone else? What do you think? Zareen, Buran, all of you are saying no. That, and you guys are right. So we can say in, for example, Bhutan's economic plan is a really, they focus on the gross domestic happiness of the people more than the GDP. Um, so yes, Seema, they are complementary. They do not need to be enemies. It does not need to be this way. They can go hand in hand. Okay. I don't know, there's a timer suddenly appeared here. Guys, is there a thing on your screen right now? A circle sort of thing? Something appeared on
Yes,
my.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, to be honest, even I'll try to. It's a 3 second timer for some reason. You know, I'll I'll just start the screen sharing again. Just give me a moment. Mm. Okay, I'm so sorry for this inconvenience. So all of you have said it doesn't have to be like that. Okay, so what do you think is the solution? How should we move forward? What can we do? Anything. It can be one word answer. It can be a full. It can be a paragraph. Whatever you feel like. If you want to, unmute yourself and say something on the mic, you can. What can we? I know it's a big question. Like, what can we do? I've told you a lot of these problems. So, what is the solution to all of this? That's the question. We need to understand our own responsibility. Okay, very nice answer. Keep the economy in mind. It would be slow, but better than extinction. See, the economy doesn't have to be slow. It's not necessary. Mindful consumption, really nice answer. Hmm. See, the economy doesn't necessarily have to be slow. There are a lot of other options. We need to look into ideas like the circular economy. A circular economy is a system very similar to nature in which the waste products are itself utilized. All the waste products are utilized, and it's part of a circle. Our current economic model is a linear model in which there is a producer, and that moves to the producer. Whatever the producer produces is moves to a manufacturer. The manufacturer manufactures and moves to a retailer or someone who sells, and then there's waste. But in circular economy, the whole system is, it goes back. Like whatever waste is created goes back and is utilized at some part. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, there are more than 3 R's now. There is rethink. There is what? Refuse. Refuse is where you don't buy a product if you don't need. There's sustainability. Sustainability is a very broad word. We need to think of it in more specific terms. Okay. Extended producer responsibility. This is another thing that we need to spec into. Um, Now, as a mass producer of plastic, companies need to take responsibility for their plastic bottles. As a mass producer of of carbon, uh, oil companies and cement companies and huge companies uh, need to take in account that this is what I'm producing and this is what I should be doing. I should take care of the waste that I myself am generating. Okay, and this can only be done when people, the 4 R's, that's not enough. Hey, Isaac. Yeah, companies need to be mindful about their own materials and about their own waste that is generated. So these are all things that we need to focus on, and this can only happen when we, the common people, you know, force these companies to do so, and we can force them by raising a voice, by uh, creating awareness, creating education, for telling these companies through social media that it is your responsibility to create a safer environment for me. If you are polluting my I there was a recent campaign that says my right to breathe, which talks about our basic right that we all humans have a right to breathe clean air, but even that is something that we are not able to get because of this massive pollution. So companies that produce this pollution are responsible to even clear that. Education, okay, this, how much ever we talk about it is less. Education not just means the formal education, you go to school, you receive an education. Education about the environment, telling people, informing, getting people informed from the right sources, not random not not random people who don't have any knowledge, but through proper scientists and through um, proper mediums, through proper academic mediums, making people know that this is a problem right now, this needs to be addressed. Now the next thing is something that I want you guys to think. Have you heard of this word? Representation. When I talk about representation, what do I mean? This is slightly complicating, but whenever I say we need to represent something, yeah, but represent what? What exactly? So okay, I representation affected by climate change. Exactly. To stand for something similar. So when we are bringing policies in place, when we are bringing something in, something that will affect, we need to talk to the people who are affected by it. Okay, for example, now when you talk about maybe let's say you talk about something related to air pollution. Okay, we need we need voice of the people who are actually affected by air pollution. Now when when a company wants to you know when if a company wants to take over a tribal land, the tribal and the indigenous people should have a say in that. This is happening on a large scale in Brazil, where a lot of these indigenous communities are being forced out by huge multinational companies. The forests are being cleared, and the tribals are being forced out of their own land. And this is a huge problem because they don't have any representation in the governments. So so when we have people from the backward, or from the people who are tribals, who are actually suffering, you know representing means describing or portrayal of someone in a particular. Okay, that is the textbook definition, Zareen, but representation in this context, I'm talking about some during making of policies, we need people from affected sectors to actually be there and speak up. Okay, we need their consultation and the steps involved. So first, this is how the steps are involved. So I guess we all are at least at the first or the second step. Okay, interest in education. If you guys do not have an interest in this field or in knowing this, you guys wouldn't have been here online. You guys are online, that means you guys have the interest. Okay, you want to know something about it. Second thing is education. Now just the interest won't do. Okay, uh, after developing an interest in a certain problem, we need to educate ourselves first about the problem. For example, we need to know what exactly is climate change, how is it affecting, what are the how can we reduce it, and what are the main problems required. A lot of us try to take the blame upon ourselves, that we are completely responsible for this problem. But we all don't see that we as common people need, not just depending upon us, but we need to um, tell the people in power that we want policies and we want regulations that will help us have a better future. And after education comes the awareness part is a very simple part. It's I need not include it in this line, but in awareness what we need to do is we need to make people around us aware about the things. Once we are done with it, we have educated ourselves. Now we need to educate people. We need to tell them that this is how we need to go forward. Okay, we need a strong standing behind us. And finally is action. Action can mean anywhere. From sharing a simple social media post, about maybe a turtle who's suffering somewhere. I guess you all have seen that there was this huge plastic straw in a turtle's nose, and this some people from a boat just pulled it out. A small impactful video like that about how the environment is being affected can have a huge impact. It can be from that uh, to signing petitions, or to actually going and creating sustainable systems. Each one's action can be different. You can start by including solar panels in your own society, or having a waste management system in your own house. Action depends upon how you see it, look at it. And finally, we do not have to sacrifice a strong economy for an healthy environment. We can have both in place. It would be difficult in the start, but we all need to do sacrifice at our own ends. Okay, and a bit more effort. And before we end the session, I would like to ask you guys, do you guys have any questions regarding the whole session? You can write it on the chat box or unmute yourself, and ask the question. Yes, exactly, Melville. Charity begins at home. We all need to like start from our house. If you guys have any questions, you can just like put in the chat box, or you can ask. Unmute yourself and ask. Okay, nothing. So this is a very very common dialogue that almost all of our professors used to tell us in in our in when I was in college. They said that if you don't have any questions after the session, there are only two possibilities. Either session was like really good, so you don't have any questions, you understood everything, or the session was very bad and you didn't understand anything, so you don't know what to ask. So I won't ask you what kind of session was it, but anything else, if you have any doubts, even if you want to say anything, okay, if you have any solutions in mind, please go forward.
It'll also be great, so you'll come up and give your point of view on the talk, or what can be actions that we can take at individual level as a common man.
Thank you, Mel. Okay, by the way, thank you all for your feedback. It's really nice to hear this. Okay, I didn't understand anything. Okay, I guess that is the feedback. Hmm.
So, Rama, I think Kaden can sum up the whole session for you in a line or two so you can get a gist of it. Kaden, can you please do that?
Okay, maybe it will be slightly more than a line or two.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
sure.
so the whole session, basically, what we wanted to say is that it's not just about it's the whole the fight, not the fight, but the whole thing where we talk about having sustainable economy is not a very it's not a very white or black thing. It's a very gray area which will take small efforts from all of us. Okay, from all of us, maybe direct action, like yeah, what Isaac said was really nice. So maybe you can so, right, small action from all of us, like maybe switching off the lights. From that to installing a solar panel in your building, to having a waste management system, to creating a social media post. When all these small actions collectively, we can all attain a sustainable economy, an economy that okay, just before I end, I just want to say this one simple thing. When we talk about a sustainable economy, it is an economy that can be that we can run for years together without facing any really bad consequences. Um, so what you said, Isaac, is really nice. Having rooftop gardens and all is a good idea. But we need to remember one thing, that rooftop gardens are not replacement for forests. Forests, mangroves, even deserts have their own important place.
An ecosystem in itself.
Yeah, you can't replace them with a rooftop garden. Having a rooftop garden is always a good thing.
Basically, the whole session was not about ecology versus economy. It was that both of these things go hand in hand, and it's time that we as humans take actions that way. We change the way we start producing things, the way we take the raw materials from the earth, how we can reuse the existing ones. And as citizens, we can, definitely ask the companies to take responsibility of the waste they generate. For example, I would say like uh, we need we need the plastic spoons and everything, right? So what did we do? We extracted the oil from the earth, we processed it, we got a lot of plastic uh, stuff made from that. When the spoon came in our hand, we took a bite or two from that spoon and immediately discarded it. So it was easy for us to extract and make a material out of it. But did we take the responsibility of making sure that it's been disposed of properly, it's been put back to the earth in a proper way so that in future it can again be reused, something like that? No. So that is the point here. In nature, everything is in a cyclic process, but humans are not doing that, and that is what is causing a lot of problems around. So it's time that the ecology and economies go hand in hand, and as environmentalist and economist also, it's our responsibility to understand the dependency of both of us, both of that. Today, also, a lot of economists deny the fact that environment is essential for them, for the survival of us, or it's important for the economy. But I think it's time to throw some light on that topic. So I hope everyone has taken something back, and this
Yes.
talk doesn't end here. It becomes a responsibility for each one of us to spread this word and you know make more and more people aware about it. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I'm posting the feedback form link in the chat box. Please give your feedback to us. If you have any more questions, you can simply write in the feedback. We will come back to you and answer that.
Yes, we all need to understand our own
Yes,
responsibility.
ma'am. Whatever things you all are saying is true. Since we don't have any more questions, I would like to keep a closing note. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for sparing 1 hour of your day of your life attending this session, and I really hope you all take something more from this and spread it across to more people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kaden, for you know getting this so that it is not ecology versus economy, but it's ecology with economy. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. And you guys were an amazing audience.
Yeah.
I really liked your interaction in the chat section.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.